Hello, good morning. This is Yunus. So as you're aware, it's the political season in Gambia, and this time around is a bit more spicy than you may have thought. Last year we have a binary choice, uh, mainly UDP, NPP, and UDP supporters voted for UDP. Those who are against UDP voted for Barrow, and they won. This time is a different case. We have a new kid in the block. Taliban Suda's emergence to our political scene has created a lot of anxiety, and we are seeing that, and it's becoming more and more intense. These players are not only scared of him, they are absolutely terrified of him because he has a strategic acumen. He's one of the smartest politicians, the most loved and the most influential politician in the country at this point. You cannot deny that. He is the most talked about politician. And there is something to that. That doesn't come out of a vacuum. That's come from the fact that he is the future of Gambian politics. You deny that you can come up with all kinds of accusations, insinuations, lies, deceptions, but the truth remains that Gambian people love this kid. And all the hostility, mainly coming from the UDP and NPP and then trying to taint him, trying to destroy his political future. They've tried everything. But the good thing about Talib, and what I absolutely love about him, is in the middle of all this noise, he gains mental clarity. He become more aware. He become more astute in his analysis of situations and his judgments. He is the best strategist politically in that country. So you can deny that, but let's go into the details a little bit more. But it seems like with this hostility, mainly from UDP, NPP, they have a new sheriff. They seem to have a new sheriff in town, which is Essa Faaal. He's my friend. I like him since the TRRC days. I thought he did a good job in the TRRC. And then clearly, as Gambia is in his right, he used that platform and the prominence that he gained from that to vie for political office, which is also within his right. Talib, it's also his right to wish to run his country, a country that he loved dearly. The truth remains, he's one of the most tested in all these aspiring leaders at this point. He ran KMC for a decade, 2 terms. And he's delivered in his promises within the constraints that he's serving as a mayor. So you can't just brush that under the carpet to say that it's completely irrelevant. Yunus Hydra, that gave me more confidence of Talib, because I'm very, very cautious about who I endorse, because my conscience wouldn't allow me to endorse and support anybody who will end up hurting the Gambian people. I will never forgive myself. But mainly based on his track record, I have absolute confidence in his sincerity, his patriotism, and his ability to run that country effectively. So this whole nonsense to say that it's a family affairs, they are the wealthy elites and stuff, I ignore that completely, because it's completely irrelevant. Because let's see the examples that we've had already so far as leaders. We only had people who emerged from poverty into the office. We have Sadauda, my grandfather came from a poor background. Yaya Jame came from a poor background. Barrow came from a poor background. But these places that these people came from remains the most deprived and isolated places in the country. So for me, you can't tell me you have to come from a poor background to be a good leader. I wouldn't listen to you. Barrow come from a poor guy background. Barrow he's running a mafia government, a state capture where he has all these questionable characters, folks around him, basically destroying our country and our resources. So don't tell me what, family thing, nonsense. What I look at is the objective reason. I wouldn't just jump into conclusion to say no to Talib. I won't support it just because your family did well for themselves by playing by the rules. They didn't cheat anything. They played by the rules. They worked hard. They worked hard to get to where we are. And that's what every family wants to be at, to be honest. If you want to do that, you want to be successful family, all the best to you. Yes, everybody, including myself and my family, I think that's what we all want. But this is about country. This is about country, and sacrifices have been made on Talib. He showed moderated greed. What he did as a mayor in KMC, giving his charity, his salaries to charities, cutting down his fuel coupon, giving back expensive cars that was bought for him to buy a cheaper car, and even use his own personal cars for his personal errands. He has shown absolutely no sign of greed. But these people, they can say whatever they want. They try to break Talib, but you cannot break Talib because Talib is a very strong person. Talib, you could not break at his most vulnerable state when his dad, of blessed memory, passed away. You didn't allow him the chance or the space to grieve, to mourn his dad. He was being dragged to the commission, sat there in front of the whole world, asked questions, tough questions. They extended it for many days. While that was going on, there is this massive social media onslaught going on, all trying to damage him, break him, and trash him. But the more they do that, like I said, within this noise, he gains mental clarity, he gains focus, and he sees the future even clearer than you guys are thinking. And man, that's the kind of leader I want for my country. All right. So now this issue that's happening was about the coalition. Number one, I listened toEssa's interview at Peter Gomez saying that Talib went to that coalition negotiation with a sole conclusion that Momoenega president. And then he went on about saying about the negotiation that he had with Talib's brother, Aziz Bensouda, where Essa Faaal, said, okay, if Talib follows me, and I will make him vice president or a prime minister. And he said, Aziz said, okay, we also can offer you the same. But my mom, he was like saying that that's even Yabate, that they were, saying that we should lead because the level, as he said, they've invested. He said he invested since 2021. But let's see about investment purely, because you can't tell me the people, you both want the same thing. But now let's look at the results of that. You were invested since 2021. You could not create yourself a base. You could not create yourself a structure. So what have you really been investing on? Tell us. You used TRRC to make yourself popular. You did other things, and then all of a sudden you ran. You got 2%. That's your investment right there. And then from 2001 to date, you didn't do anything. You went out of the radar, thinking that, and then just recently you came back, made a few radio presence. You call that investment. Talib has been investing in the UDP for God knows when. Since we had a change of government, Talib became involved to UDP. He gave it his time. He gave it his effort. He gave it his all. Whatever resources he has financially, whatever, he puts it in the UDP to get Dabo elected. Right? So Dabo wasn't elected. He was defeated. But what we knew, what ensued was Dabo had kind of a belief of succession. That was the natural plan of that. And UDP, you can tell financially, it was done. So if you give Talib the impression, whether explicitly or implicitly, that he is the one to take over the UDP, and he continued to put his money, his time, his resources into the UDP since 2021 or whatever, going by your words. I don't know if Aziz said that actually, but going by Aziz, let's give that the benefit of the doubt. Aziz said that 3 years ago, but that's fine. But what for me though, I didn't know, I wasn't close to Talib then to know, but looking from the outside then, you can tell that Dabo was basically preparing Talib to succeed. So Talib obviously is politician. Every politician wants to go as far as their influence and opportunity can take them. Talib on this side has influence. Gambians love him. They talking about him 24/7. So that is influence. Opportunity was there because Dabo was basically done politically. So that's an opportunity for new leaders to emerge. But Talib never had the notion to say that it's him or the highway. But we'll come to that because you've made a claim about that as well, Essa. So basically, Talib is a smarter politician than you. Talib has invested more time, intellectual heft, and finances because Talib, within the short span of less than a year of going on his own route, he has created a national infrastructure, political national infrastructure. He basically changed the entire face of our political scene. You could not do that. So for me, if I'm going to choose one leader to lead my country, it will be somebody who actually is able to produce a result in less than a year that you could not produce in 7 years. So yes, Talib should lead Talib should have better choice than you in the interest of Gambia because he has demonstrated conviction, sacrifice, by sacrificing his own resources to salvage that country. But then you went on to make another claim to say that this is what he did in UDP. We all knew what you were doing. My friend Ibrahim Adamfa rightly pointed it, and I saw that as well. You want an ally in this fight against Talib. You want to fight Talib. But you said, where can I get a better ally in this than the UDP? By making that what you have just experienced validated what UDP and Talib has gone through. That is absolutely different. Talib has every right to put his name forward to run for the UDP flag bearership. But he also made a promise prior to that to show that if Dabo puts his name forward, he will not fight with him based on the respect that he has for Dabo, which is understandable. So when the applications were open, there was no news that Dabo has applied. Nobody knew. There was no announcement for it. So he applied, but then Dabo. Then when it was announced who applied, we all knew, okay, they both applied. But then Talib attempted to negotiate with Dabo, which is perfectly fine in politics. He said, I can assure you, if you let me lead the UDP, I will take us to the State House. Something that Dabo has tried, 5 times? He couldn't do it. But that's normal in politics. But something else happened during that time. There was a very nasty UDP onslaught against Talib during that time that has brought so much toxicity around that environment that it becomes no longer conducive for Talib. Relationships were broken. UDP basically demonstrated to all Gambians that what you are accusing us of this whole time is actually true. Because Dabo is a lifetime leader in this party, that this is not about the country, this is about Dabo. We have to make this guy a president. And if there is any way of succession, it cannot be you. Because we don't see you as an indigenous member of the UDP. Regardless of all your contributions, there is a limit, a natural barrier to how far you can go in here, because we don't see you as truly one of us. This is what happened. So with all that, I personally, this is what I would have done in that kind of scenario. He withdrew because the position that he held in the UDP was no longer tenable, because there's a conflict, natural conflict of interest, because he's also supposed to campaign to get Dabo elected president. But then they became a rival. Dabo supporters excoriated him. He took a step back. He reflected on everything. But then he also listened to the call of the Gambian people. He knew there is a need of his leadership in Gambia, because there is a growing contentment and people are fed up with this Dabo UDP decision.